What's up, everybody? I'm Najee Adams.
And I'm Hunter Jacobs.
And you're listening to the Hoopball Nets podcast. We got a pretty good episode for you guys tonight. We're going to talk about the Nets' last 3 games and really get into their playoff hopes. We've talked about this quite a lot over the last few episodes, but it's really getting down to the crunch time of the season. And like we said earlier, we said this before the All-Star break, their end of the season schedule gets really sick.
Even with just 6 games to go, they still have the toughest schedule for the last 6 games. It's been that way for about a month, I'd say, at this point.
The Magic just came off a 6-game winning streak.
And they've still hung on and remain in the playoffs for now.
We'll get into that later in the episode, but let me go to the regular intro. Make sure you guys subscribe to this podcast on iTunes. You can look up Brooklyn Nets. You can look up Hoopball Nets. We come up regardless. Press that subscribe button and leave a rating and review. 5 stars, please. Every review is getting read on the podcast. You guys can go follow us on Twitter at Hoopball Nets. And shout out to Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee Company for sponsoring this podcast and every other Hoopball podcast. You can check them out at Hi Kona Coffee on Twitter. It's HIKONA Coffee. Check them out on Amazon. Order some packets. Me and Hunter have both had them. They're amazing, so make sure you guys go check them out. So the first game we're going to talk about is the Nets versus the Lakers. This was the game that basically knocked the Lakers out of the playoffs.
Actually, not basically, did knock them out of the playoffs. Eliminated them from the playoffs. And no better man to do it than D'Angelo Russell. There's only one other man that could have done it that would have been just as satisfying. Julius Randle. So happy that it was one of those two guys. Magic deserves no less than that.
It was a close game for most of the game. The Nets ended up shooting 40.2% from the field, while the Lakers shot 38.5%. The Lakers shot 9 of 36 from the three-point line, which is 25%, and the Nets shot 16 of 42, which is 38.1%. Both teams can't shoot free throws. Nets shot 75%. Lakers shot 72%. Nets won the turnover battle, and they lost the rebound battle by a ton. They lost it by 12 because JaVale McGee decided he wanted to have a career night. And
I'll get into JaVale McGee. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, that's basically the matchup. Well, you might as well get into him now.
Well, one thing I wanted to ask you, since you're a Lakers fan, I want you to just say what you think is wrong with them. Because before this season, all of us were under the belief that LeBron could carry any team into the playoffs. And this season has just been an absolute failure.
Okay, so let me address that first. I feel like that statement needs to be adjusted to LeBron can carry any team to the playoffs in the East. The West is a whole different monster. Would the Lakers be in the playoffs or the East? Still no. But it's like, I feel like had he been in the East, the Lakers would have played less competitive teams, and they probably would have been able to hold their own while he was injured. Back to why we didn't make the playoffs, or what's wrong with us. So let's remember that when LeBron got injured, the Lakers were the 4 seed. Back on Christmas Day against the Warriors, we were the 4 seed, destroyed the Warriors. We were nice. LeBron goes down. We lose a crap ton of games. Lonzo goes down. We continue to lose games. Lonzo never comes back.
And then Brandon Ingram had deep venous thrombosis.
Yeah, Brandon Ingram has blood clots in his arm, and that ends his season. Josh Hart, he's been bad ever since the year
of the season.
Ever since the year turned to 2019. He's been horrible. But what I feel like really sank the ship was the Anthony Davis saga. When you tell every single young player, I'm almost
literally
positive.
Every player, Hart, Kuzma, Ingram, Ball, everyone.
I'm almost positive that at least Brandon Ingram had been told, like, you're untouchable by Magic, by Pelinka, like, you're our franchise player, franchise cornerstone for the next couple of years. So when you go from hearing that to hearing, yeah, he's on the block for Anthony Davis in a matter of days, weeks, months, doesn't matter. Same for Kuzma, same for Hart, same for Lonzo. Like, that just sinks a locker room. That just sinks the locker room, sinks team chemistry.
And I do believe that's a reason that Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and JaVale McGee are doing so well right now. because they've never been in trade talks this season. Like, even Rondo was in those trade talks, and he's not playing that well. The two names, McGee and KCP, who weren't in trade talks, are having the best stretches of their season and best stretches in a long time. JaVale McGee of his career right now. And, I mean, right now it's pointless, but the Lakers really don't have much. I think it was over once they decided to sign Michael Beasley instead of bringing back someone like Julius Randle.
That also was horrible front office decision making by Magic Johnson. Why would you reinvent the wheel when you know LeBron is nice with shooters? Why would you try and change it up?
And surround him with ball handlers like Rondo. He already has Lonzo on the team, so why Rondo?
Exactly,
Lonzo?
And he said that we're not going to beat the Warriors playing the Warriors type of game. Okay, well, we didn't even make the playoffs. So, I mean, clearly this didn't work either.
I believe McGee was their only good signing. Bullock would have been good
had they got him earlier. Was the greatest thing we did this season, to be completely honest.
Bullock and McGee were good. Rondo could have done without him. Lance could have done without him.
Easily.
And Michael Beasley could have done without him.
I can't remember who said that. Oh, I was listening to The Herd the other day, and Colin Cowherd said this. He was like, the Lakers don't throw jabs. We just throw power punches. And it's so true because the way I would describe it is like we don't throw jabs in that we don't sign nice role players for a couple years. We sign all these old 1-year players, and we form no team chemistry. We form no team culture. It's just 1-year guys that know that they're basically mercenaries to come in.
So they try to pull the Yankees in baseball essentially, because the Yankees sign the big players who are nearing the end of their prime, who give it one last hurrah and win the chip.
Yeah, we throw no jabs. We sign no good role players. We just go for power punches, superstar players every time. And that when those power punches don't connect and we don't get those superstar players, then we get knocked out. And that's exactly what this season was, a knockout. We played horribly after the All-Star break. Anthony Davis rumors sunk the team, and that's what I believe is what sunk the Lakers.
All right, now let's get into the box.
The Nets fans are probably like, why am I listening to this? but on to the box score. JaVale McGee had
No, he's last.
Okay, we can do JaVale McGee last. So LeBron, we'll start with LeBron.
He almost had a D-Lo special. He was real close.
36 minutes, 25 points on 8 of 25 shooting. He was 1 of 7 from the three-point line. 9 rebounds, 14 assists, 8 turnovers.
8. The King had 8 turnovers.
8 turnovers, and people always like to point. They pointed out LeBron had 25, 9, and 8, or 25, 14, and 9, and it's like, okay, but he went 8 of 25 from the field and shot 1 of 7 from the 3-point line,
and 8 of 12 from the free throw line.
And he had 8 turnovers. Good. So I mean, let's not just sugarcoat it and make it sound like he had an amazing.
That's
game.
A Westbrook stat pad game.
It really is. Me. And Kyle Kuzma, 5 of 19.
He had a D-Lo special.
He's been bad. I'm not going to lie.
Kyle Kuzma has been horrific lately.
Yeah, 34 minutes,
He's
3
missing
of 11.
his partners in crime, Lonzo and Ingram. That must be what it is.
5 rebounds, 1 block, 5 personal fouls, almost fouled out. Reggie Bullock, 28 points, 5 points, 2 of 9.
D-Lo special.
1 of 6 from the 3. And then Rondo, who's absolutely horrific. 24 minutes.
It seems like he gets all his 5 points or 3 points always from 3.
He had a negative 16 plus minus.
It seems like every game he hits 1 3-pointer, and that's his only field goal.
He's horrible. Alex Caruso, 34 minutes. He should honestly be our starting point guard right now.
Alex Caruso caught an alley-oop posterizer on Kyle Korver in the Lakers last game. I don't know if you saw it, but it was possibly the greatest Lakers moment of the season, seeing Alex Caruso catch an alley-oop banger from Scott Machado on Kyle Korver. Amazing.
And, like I said, Alex Caruso should be our starting point guard. 3 of 10 from the field, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and steal. And then go ahead, go get into JaVale.
Well, first KCP, 7 points, 1 of 6, dreadful. But, all right. This is more of a shot at Jarrett Allen than anything. So everyone can say what they want. Defensive win shares, box plus minus, blah, 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 blah. I'm big on analytics, and I can't save this man anymore. How do you let JaVale McGee have 33 and 20? 33 and 20 on 15 of 20 shooting.
That's a career high for him.
With 6 blocks. This man destroyed the Nets, kept them in the game. And I don't care what you say. Jarrett Allen is to blame for part of this at least. And he does this so much. He gets lit up by Vucevic. He gets lit up by Jokic. He gets lit up by Embiid. Sure, those are the normal guys. When you're out here getting lit up by JaVale McGee and Rudy Gobert, who's not even an offensive maestro, getting 25 on you, that's not right. That is not right. And at least if you're going to let that happen, can you at least get 20 and 10 yourself? I don't know if Jarrett Allen has more than 2 20 and 10 games this season, if he even has 2. He is probably the biggest disappointment for the Nets this season based on what he should have been. Tell me I'm wrong.
I can't tell you you're wrong. I put this in my stock watch. If you guys don't know, I also write for Hoopball. So does Hunter. I write a weekly article entitled Stock Watch. Jarrett Allen was in my stock down. It was a disappointment. He was touted as a breakout pick for a lot of fantasy basketball
Top
analysts.
50 player.
A lot of regular basketball analysts thought he was going to be a breakout player this season. We understand he's only 20 years old, and there's so much room for him to grow. I completely get that. But this season, in my opinion, was a disappointment for Jarrett Allen. Now that Hunter's rant is over, let's get into the Nets box score. So Ed Davis, 20 minutes, 14 points, 15 rebounds on 7 of 11 shooting. He's an absolute monster.
Look. If there's one thing I want the Nets to do this offseason,
you got to re-sign.
It's re-sign Ed Davis. They can let all these kids hit the road. If you re-sign Ed Davis and D'Angelo Russell, then you did everything right.
Caris LeVert, 18 minutes, 0 of 6 from the field, 0 of 3 from the three-point line. He added 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. He's still getting his legs back under him. I feel like I've said that at least 3 straight episodes now. Those exact same words.
Look. It's just scary because Gordon Hayward breaks his leg. Terrible. Caris LeVert breaks his leg looking to be terrible. And as you'll see later on, there's a third member of the Break Your Leg Club, and we'll see how he is next season. Hopefully LeVert's better, Hayward comes back stronger, and they're not terrible. But right now, the trend is break your leg and you become terrible. I really hope that's not true and they become better, but Paul George did it, and he was fine. He was good. I mean, his was more ankle than leg, but hopefully LeVert plays better next season. I don't expect him to play any better down the final stretch. Hopefully he gets some confidence before next season. Maybe he needs his teammates to gas him up again like they did this offseason, but
maybe. Hopefully he can, if the Nets make the playoffs, he can come on in the playoffs and the Nets can make some Cinderella playoff push. But Spencer Dinwiddie, 31 minutes and 19 points, 4 of 14 from the field, 2 of 7 from the three-point line, but he went 9 of 12 from the free throw line. He usually gets a lot of his buckets off free throws. Definitely the Nets' most frequent free throw shooter. Joe Harris, old reliable, 31 minutes, 26 points on 8 of 15 shooting, 6 of 8 from the three-point line. A typical old reliable night, just an absolute monster on the percentages.
Did you know who's leading the NBA in three-point percentage?
Let me guess. Joe Harris.
Do you know who's second?
Steph Curry.
Seth Curry.
I was close.
Man,
I should have guessed because he's taking less, so he has a higher percentage of being a better shooter. DeMar Carroll.
Seth Curry's underrated, by the way. He's amazing.
DeMar Carroll, 34 minutes, 15 points on 5 of 13 shooting, 3 of 9 from the three-point line, added 6 rebounds, not much else. Rodions Kurucs really was invisible this game, 3 points, 1 of 5 from the field, 1 of 3 from the three-point line, 4 rebounds, 1 assist.
Don't worry, baby AK-47 will have his time.
Jarrett Allen, 27 minutes, 13 points, 4 of 7 from the field, 5 of 8 from the free throw line, 11 rebounds, so he had 13 and 11. And then D'Angelo Russell, 33 minutes, 21 points, 8 of 20 from the field, 4 of 11 from the three-point line, 13 assists, 2 rebounds, only 6 turnovers, and added 4 steals.
Only 6 turnovers?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Compared to the 13 assists, I'm going to say it was a decent game. I just want to say that this is the perfect way for the Lakers to get bounced from the playoffs because it makes perfect sense. D'Angelo Russell gave up on him too quick, and this is exactly what they get. So it was a great game for D'Lo. He hushed the fans like late in the second or early in the third, and it was a great night for him.
Look, the way I see it is on the Lakers, he was a boy. On the Nets, he's a man. That's the bottom line.
And on to the craziest game that we're going to talk about tonight. The Nets lost 144 to 148. versus the Portland Trail Blazers.
So much happened in this game.
In the second in double overtime. And
I'll tell you, one man that we bash on day in and day out.
He gets his praise.
He gets his respect for this game, but they still lost. But he gets his respect for this game.
Should we say who it is, or should we wait?
Oh, we'll wait, but they know.
So the Nets shot 47.6% from the field, while the Blazers shot 43.8%. Nets shot 35.7% from the three-point line. Blazers shot 31.1%. And the Nets lost the turnover battle horribly, 16-3.
So I want to know how there's 58 minutes of basketball in this game.
And
the Blazers turned the ball over 3 times. That's the Nets' defense fault. I don't care. 3 turnovers in 58 minutes of basketball. 58 minutes. 16 is probably normal for 58 minutes of basketball. But the Blazers turned it over 3 times.
That is inexcusable. There's no way you should force 3 turnovers in a double OT game.
Seth Curry forced 3 turnovers in the overtimes for the Nets.
They ended up winning the rebound battle and losing the assist battle. 9 steals to the Nets, 3. And let's get into the box score. Honestly, I don't even want to say the box score. Like, a listener asked us a question on Twitter, and I feel like that would be the perfect way to dissect the game. So Shooter McGavin asked us. Well, shout out to Shooter McGavin because he's asked us multiple questions before, and he's definitely also left a review. So shout out to you. He said Dudley was nice this game.
That's obviously that's who nice. It is.
I want to say out of all the crap we've given Jarrett Dudley, he earned his place on the court tonight. He did. Probably my most influential one. He was tasked after Jarrett Allen went out. He was tasked with guarding Yusuf Nurkic.
We'll get into that over time,
and the biggest thing I think he did was in double OT. Rodney Hood is an idiot, and he went to the basket. And Jarrett Dudley actually caused a jump ball, but the refs ruled it. What did they rule it?
They ruled it out of bounds on Dudley, and they couldn't reverse it to a jump ball, so it stayed out of bounds. But it should have been a jump ball.
So that was great from Jarrett Dudley. What's your thought on Dinwiddie and those 2 fouls?
Okay.
Oh my God! I was tearing him up.
No, let me handle this. This is about it won't matter as much in the long run. Well, maybe it will if the Nets don't make the playoffs. But it's not going to be as put on blast as J.R. Smith in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. But when I tell you this is the same thing, you don't know the score and time of the game, and you intentionally foul when there's 30 seconds left, down 2. All you have to do is get a stop.
And he got saved on that first one because had Seth Curry made both his free throws, the Nets would have lost. There's a good shot the Nets would have lost. So D'Lo, if you don't know what we're talking about, in the fourth quarter, the Nets are up 2. D'Lo's trying to ice the game, comes down, loses the handle behind the back.
No. D'Lo gets absolutely bagged by Seth Curry.
He lost his handle.
Bagged by Seth Curry.
He lost his handle.
I'll get to this boy for that after.
Seth Curry bags him.
Just explain.
They're coming down the court, and it's basically a fast break. He's not even running to the basket on the break. He's setting up a half-court offense. And Spencer Dinwiddie comes out of nowhere and fouls Seth Curry, who's like a 85% free throw shooter. And it's very possible. It's give him those 2 shots again, he makes both the Nets lose. But he misses the first one. Shoots the second one, goes in, and the Nets end up going to the first overtime. So that was Spencer Dinwiddie's first mistake, and you think he'd learn from it. Psych! He ends up doing the exact same thing again. In what? The double OT?
Yes, and he happened to foul another good free throw shooter, and game over.
That alone was just a I don't know what kind of basketball IQ that man has, but there's absolutely no way we can excuse you for that one, Spencer. That was a bad showing from you, buddy.
Obviously, there's other games where the Nets have blown the late game and made some crazy mistakes. But this is so close to the end of the season that when you look at why the Nets don't make the playoffs, if they don't,
we're going to come back and look at this
game. That man doing that play.
Like when they needed they were up 10 with like 8 minutes left. They could have iced this game. We get it. Had D'Lo not got the turnover, Spencer Dinwiddie would have never got the chance to do that. But come on, you have to know. Why would you foul? There's absolutely no reason.
And to make it better, that foul made him foul out of the game. So he had the courtesy of walking to the bench in shame after Kenny Atkinson looked at him like he was an imbecile. Because honestly, that is the reason they lost. They could have lost anyway, don't get me wrong. But that sunk their feet. That made them definitely lose.
And he did it again. It wasn't just the fourth quarter. He fouled someone else again. I can't remember who it was.
Dame.
It was Dame. He fouled
him.
For no reason. When you didn't need to. And that ended up...
And you foul a top 3 clutch player in the NBA.
And that... They could have just played defense and gotten the ball back with like 8 seconds left. There was no need for him to foul, and that basically iced the game, and the Blazers ended up winning. Shooter McGavin goes on to ask, do you think Jarrett Allen's offense will improve by next year? He doesn't post up much. He only scores on pick and rolls and cuts.
I will say no. And the reason why, one, he will never develop a three-point shot. Maybe late in his career, not happening anytime soon. Mid-range, I don't know. It won't be reliable. And he honestly, best way to describe it, he has butterfingers. Like, I can't trust him to catch the ball and dunk it.
Especially in this game. He was dropping and playing juggles with the ball the whole time.
And he's not skilled enough to post up, shake someone off, and dunk on them. Like, he does not have that yet. To say he'll never have it, no. Next year, I still don't think he'll make that big of a leap. Give it maybe 3-4 years when he starts hitting his prime. But right now, I don't think he'll get better on offense by next year. We'll see how the offseason goes, what he does, what his teammates say, but I really don't think so if I had to say today.
So, on to the box score. Mo Harkless, 39 minutes, 5 of 13 from the field, 13 points, 8 rebounds, blah, blah, blah. Damian Lillard, 31 points. He was 10 of 30 from the field in 47 minutes.
Hey, he made the ones that mattered.
4 of 16 from the three-point line.
Although he could have ended the game on a pull-up 3 if you remember, and he hit the back
12 assists. Dame was pretty off in the overtimes. The only reason not the only reason, but a big reason that
there's 2 reasons: Dinwiddie and the refs. That's why the Nets lost.
We said on Twitter the Nets lost this game for a multitude of reasons. I think it's 4. The refs definitely weren't on the Nets side. The fact that Jarrett Allen and Ed Davis both got fouled out, D'Angelo Russell's late game turnover debacle, and Spencer Dinwiddie's horrible basketball IQ. I think those are the 4 reasons the Nets lost this game. Rodney Hood, 18 points, 8 of 16 shooting, and Seth Curry, 3 of 7 from the three-point line. The only free throw, 20 points, 40 minutes, only free throw he missed happened to be the one in the fourth quarter that would have won the game for the Blazers.
And Seth Curry has been phenomenal lately. In case you didn't know, I don't know why you would know.
Go check out Stockwatch.
He is my favorite player of all time. Been following him since his days in high school. Then he went to Duke. And he was killing with Mason Plumlee. That was my favorite college team of all time. And now he was hitting it with the Kings a couple years ago. Now he's with the Blazers.
Kid is done reminiscing. Let's get on to the Brooklyn Nets box score. DeMar Carroll, 35 minutes, 18 points, 5 of 8 from the field, 4 of 7 from the three-point line, 5 rebounds. Jarrett Allen, he fouled out in 25 minutes.
I don't have a lot of good to say about this guy.
Yeah, he had 10 and 8 on 3 of 8 shooting. Joe Harris, old reliable, did not have a very reliable game. He kind of started to turn it on in the second OT when they really needed him to, but then Spencer Dinwiddie messed up the game for everyone. Joe Harris had 13 points on 4 of 13 shooting, 1 of 6 from the three-point line, 8 rebounds. D'Angelo Russell, absolute monster. 39 points, 42 minutes, 16 of 34 from the field, 3 of 14.
Hit a 3 to save his life.
Yeah, 3 of 14
and or a free throw, but
yeah, he was 4 of 8 from the free throw line, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 6 turnovers, and a steal.
All right, so let me explain the turnover issue. There's a whole lot of times. This is what separates him from being a superstar right now to me. Superstars like Steph get the ball and just dribble normally, like a normal human being. Call a screen, dribble when the game's on the line, and they use speed, hesitations, crossover, simple moves to get by their opponent. This man is doing behind the backs combos, all this ridiculous stuff with the ball.
He said combos.
There's no need to do all of that on Seth Curry. As much as I love the guy, he can't play defense. You are D'Angelo Russell. Post him up. You're bigger than him. You post him up and do a post fadeaway if you have to. Turn around and do a floater. You do not have to do all these moves, and you get bagged twice. Twice by Seth Curry. Twice.
Yeah, the 2 turnovers I remember the most, of course, the one at the end of the fourth, and the one in double OT where he just chucked it clean out of bounds because he thought Joe Harris was going to be in some place he wasn't. Miscommunication, but it ended up going on D'Lo's stat line as a turnover and ultimately being his fault. Jarrett Dudley, 35 minutes, 15 points on 6 of 8 shooting. Big Jarrett! 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and he was honestly the best Jarrett in the game, to be completely honest. And Caris LeVert.
This was a good game for him.
He had 24 minutes, 16 points, 5 of 8 from the field, 1 of 2 from the 3-point line, 5 of 6 from the free throw line, 7 assists, 3 rebounds. One of his best games since coming back, and only did it in 24 minutes. And Ed Davis.
He was playing so well. 6 points, 2 of 2 shooting, 14 rebounds, and a block. And once he fouled out, Jarrett Allen was the next option. Once Allen fouled out, it all went downhill.
Yeah, let's just talk about that real quick. So the reason, once Jarrett Allen fouled out,
Dudley had to guard Yusuf Nurkic.
Dudley was guarding Yusuf Nurkic. He was basically just posting him up and just doing hook shots, fadeaway jumpers, like anything he could do that was basically just shooting over Jared Dudley. He wasn't really contesting his shot.
And as we said in the box score, Nurkic had 32 and 16 and 5 assists with 4 blocks. So another center that's not top of the game that destroys Jarrett Allen. And when they put Dudley on him, it was a short-lived period. And I swear every time a shot was missed, whistle.
By the Blazers. Every time the shot was missed by the Blazers.
Lose ball foul. On the nets. Every single time.
And it's because they were triple teaming Yusuf Nurkic to try and get the rebound.
And he was just like throwing his arms
exactly.
around,
So it makes it look like they're just bodying the kid in the paint. But in reality, he was pushing off for a couple of those rebounds. But no, since he's the 7'2" center getting bodied by 3 men, it looks like he's the one that's getting fouled.
So all the calls were going against the Nets. And then there's a time Yusuf Nurkic jumps. He lands awkwardly.
And it was a regular jump. Like, that's just such bad luck.
And he fell, and we thought by Jared Dudley's face that he was mad about the constant foul calls.
I think everyone did.
Because no one really knew what happened at that point.
Nobody realized it.
And then the commentators are like, oh, no, Nurkic is hurt. And they show the replay, and
super graphic.
It is the same exact thing as Caris LeVert and Gordon Hayward, practically.
And it's horrible. Even though Yusuf Nurkic was destroying the Nets, no one wants to see him go down like that. No one wants to see someone get injured.
And also,
especially not the Nets, because they know how it feels to lose someone like that.
Like, it's crazy that the Blazers are his teammates, and the Nets looked more hurt by the injury than they did, because they've already experienced it. So they saw it, and D'Lo and Joe Harris
and Jared Dudley just ran down the court.
And Carroll turned around and just started running the other way. And then the rest of the game, LeVert sat with a towel over his eyes, and he was really defeated. Like he's been through it already.
And for the Blazers, it sucks too because now you have to rely on Enes Kanter.
And Zach Collins.
This is why you bought him here, of course. But like Jusuf Nurkic is your guy.
See, they're lucky. If there's anything that was their strongest position, they have 3 capable centers. Well, they had 2 other than him. I guess you can count Myers Leonard, but their 2 centers now are Kanter and Collins, which is fine. That is good enough. But now they're almost guaranteed to not have a playoff run.
And so, yeah, prayers up to Jusuf Nurkic. We never want to see someone go down like that. So we hope he recovers soon. And we're going to get on to this next game. Tonight's game versus the 76ers. The Nets lose 110 to 123 to make a 2-game losing streak. They basically just got the brakes blown off of them. The Nets had a 2-point lead, and the Sixers...
In case you wanted to know, that lead was in the first 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and the Sixers had a 20-point lead and basically never looked back. Sixers shot 50% from the field. Nets shot 44. Sixers shot 48% from 3. Nets shot 34. The Nets lost the turnover battle 15-9.
Tied in rebounds. They got smoked in every aspect of the game. There's not much, honestly, to go over in this one. Embiid, once again, a center that fries Jarrett Allen. 39 and 13.
6 assists.
Sure, Embiid's the best center in basketball, but Jarrett Allen, it just does not stop with.
A block, yeah. Embiid lit him up in 27 minutes. He had 39 points.
Ben Simmons.
That's insane.
Ben Simmons' typical line, 16 and 8 assists. Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler, they're not very good in this game. 15 combined on 6 of 18 combined. Pretty bad.
JJ Redick put up 18 points. 6 of 12 from the field, 4 of 9 from the three-point line.
And, of course, Boban, the backup center, also fries Jarrett Allen, 16 points on 6 of 8 shooting.
And on to the next box score.
Jarrett Allen, 8 minutes. So he didn't get fried because he got benched after 8 minutes. 4 points, 2 of 3 shooting.
Joe Harris, he made a comeback, old reliable. He doesn't have 2 back-to-back bad games. So 31 minutes, 22 points, 8 of 12 from the field, 4 of 6 from the three-point line, and 3 rebounds. D'Angelo special. There we go.
Oh my God. You realize that all 3 of these games, he's combined for 19 turnovers?
Yeah, he had 13 points, 6 of 19 from the field, 1 of 5 from the three-point line, 8 assists, 4 rebounds, and 7 turnovers. I don't know what to say. I mean, this is the worst time for him to go into this turnover slump and just throw the ball away at will when they need to win games. Jared Dudley.
Well, so I believe that the Nets started to feel like they were going to lose this game, so they brought in Theo Pinson, Shabazz Napier, and Rondae Hollis, who had an amazing game. Rondae Hollis had 19 points on 7 of 14 shooting with 10 rebounds. And Karis LeVert had 18 points on 6 of 14 shooting. So those 2 played pretty well, but aside from that, the box score was unspectacular.
Yeah, it looks like Karis is looking to get his groove back. He's starting to get his groove back. That's 2 straight games from him. Hopefully he can keep it up. Hopefully the Nets can make the playoffs, but let's get into that now. So the Nets are now the 7th seed.
As the Pistons just whopped the Magic and ended their 6-game win streak.
Exactly. So the top 5 seeds in the East are clinched. The Bucks, the Raptors, Sixers, Pacers,
and
Celtics.
And that's likely how it's going to end.
Exactly. And the Pistons are the 6th seed. They're half a game ahead of the Nets. Nets are the 7th seed. They're half a game ahead of the 8th-seeded Heat, who are half a game ahead of the 9th-seeded Magic, who are a game ahead of the Hornets.
Okay. I don't care. The Hornets are not making it. It's really between those 4 for 3 spots. And if you look, the Nets have the hardest schedule. Now, the Heat actually have the 2nd hardest schedule out of those teams. They have the 8th hardest in the NBA.
Because the Heat have to play the Raptors, the Sixers, the Celtics twice.
And the Nets, which will be the deciding game. Because I believe by that point it's very possible that the Magic and Pistons can be locked at 6 and 7, and the Nets and Heat can be fighting for that. I don't know if it will happen, but it's very possible.
Because if we look at the Magic, they still have the Knicks, the Hawks, and the Hornets to play. So that's 3 games that are very winnable for them. The Pistons have the Knicks, the Grizzlies, and the Hornets to play, which are very winnable for them. And the Nets still have 2 Bucks games, a Raptors game, a Pacers game, and a Celtics game.
Okay, look.
So they're playing literally every team in the East that has clinched a spot.
And look. They're catching the Bucks twice when they don't have Brogdon and Mirotic. Now, it doesn't really matter, but they got to hope that the Bucks have clinched the 1 seed. So they might want to rest Giannis at one point.
The same with the Raptors.
The Raptors have clinched the 2 seed, and they can't get to 1 really, or they're not going to. So what's the point of playing all these people? So they better hope. That the Bucks rest, the Raptors rest, the Pacers really are a beatable team, and the Celtics are going to rest Kyrie, most likely. He already said he's going to sit regular season games because he doesn't care about the regular season anymore. So they're going to have to play those 5 games, and then they have to play the Heat, which could decide who goes into the playoffs, like a Nuggets-Timberwolves situation from last year.
Literally.
And if D'Lo chokes that game, that takes away a lot of his season for me.
I don't want to say that.
If something happens where he turns the ball over in a key spot or misses a key shot, it's going to...
Okay, so then let's say he wins the game for them. Are you going to boost his season as much as you're going to diminish it?
Yes.
Okay.
Because
remember you said that.
He becomes instantly clutch if he does something like that.
He's already clutch. He is.
He lost the Blazers game.
Okay, he's not the only reason they lost the game.
Okay, but he let Seth Curry take the ball from him like a
baby. Okay, and Spencer Dinwiddie fouled him for no reason.
I understand, but D'Lo, there's things he needs to improve to become
I agree.
Like Steph Curry, like Westbrook,
okay,
like
Steph
Chris
Curry's
Paul.
26, 27,
That's
28.
What I'm saying. He needs to get to that point, and to get to that point, he needs to stop doing combo moves when it matters. He needs to start making shots when they matter, although he does sometimes now, but there's times he chokes it.
We can't expect perfection from a 23-year-old.
There's no perfection in the game, period.
Well, then let's not sit here and act like he's a top 5 player.
Let's say they play the Heat. If he hits a clutch shot, he becomes clutch. That gets him in the playoffs.
Already clutch. How many games this season has he won for them? So many.
I understand he's regular season clutch. There's a difference. You understand there's a difference, right?
Yes, I understand there's a difference between playoff clutch and regular season clutch.
Like I'll say Steph is regular season clutch, not as much playoff clutch. KD is playoff clutch.
KD is just clutch, period.
He is, because he doesn't miss. LeBron, for a long time, was not playoff clutch. And then he started to figure it out.
Okay,
but
basically...
there's different levels for certain players. And D'Lo has the potential to be overall clutch. That's a game that will matter. And that's going to be a playoff level game.
It'll definitely matter. Bottom line, the Nets are 1 game ahead of the Magic and half a game ahead of the Heat. The Magic are 7-3 in their last 10, and they've got a pretty decent schedule upcoming. So the Nets have to hold off the Heat and the Magic to secure either the 7 or 8 seed. If they go on a win streak, they could get 6 seed, but it's not looking likely. So it's likely they're going to be the 7th or 8th seed, and they're going to have to win a couple of these next hard games. They have to. Right now,
it's very possible that all 4 of them end at 40 and 42. And if that happens, I really don't know what happens. I have no idea who gets it.
Right now, ESPN has the Pistons coming in at the 6th seed with an 87% chance of making the playoffs. The Nets at the 7th seed with a 79.7% chance of making the playoffs. And the Magic at the 8th seed with a 73% chance of making the playoffs. They've got a lot of faith in the Nets because I don't know if they take into account strength of schedule in this, but it does. It says they take into account their remaining schedule for each team, so they've got a lot of faith in the Nets.
I find it funny how the Celtics are the 5th seed and they have higher odds than the Sixers and Pacers to win the chip, even with this season.
That's true. The second highest are the Raptors in the third high, and then the highest are the Bucks. I don't think the Bucks are winning the chip, unfortunately. I think they're a regular season team that just so happened to
I don't even
go
think
off.
they're going to make the chip. That's my opinion.
I don't either. I don't think Giannis is carrying them to a championship. I'm sorry.
And I don't think having DJ Wilson as your second or third best player off the bench is really going to do much for you. But
not a chance. They beat the Warriors. Not a chance. I don't think they're going to beat the Raptors, to be completely honest. I think the chip is going to be Raptors Warriors.
I could see it, but I can also I can see the Raptors, I can see the Sixers, I can see the Celtics.
I can't see the Bucks. I can see the Nets. Imagine the Nets going a Cinderella run.
If the Nets are the 7th seed and beat the Raptors, the Sixers can be handled.
That's what I'm saying.
The Sixers
imagine that would be crazy.
But then after playing 2 long series, then they'd have to play the Celtics, and it ain't looking too good for that.
Yes, as the Celtics fan, we haven't done a Brooklyn Bowler of the Week in a while, so we're gonna
D-Lo, Shmelo.
Over the past 6 games, the Brooklyn Bowler of the Week is, drumroll please, D'Angelo Russell. 6 games, 33.3 minutes. He's averaging 28.2 points, 9.2 assists, 1.8 steals, and 4.8 rebounds. And at 43.6% shooting.
Yeah. So, great stats, terrible efficiency, 50% from the free throw line, 4.8 turnovers a game. So, he can't hit a free throw, can't hang on to the ball, not shooting the ball well.
Okay, why is it that you always look at the bad side?
Because what you're saying is what you said about LeBron in that other game.
What?
About how, he didn't hit a free throw. He had a lot of turnovers. He didn't shoot the ball well. That's what D'Lo is doing over the last 6 games.
LeBron is the greatest player of all time, and D'Lo is a 23-year-old. If he finishes the season
like this, they're not making the playoffs.
He's not going to... The Nets are going to make the playoffs. I'm going to go out on a limb right now and say it. The Nets are going to make the playoffs.
I believe they will.
Easily.
But if they don't, and he finishes the season like this, that's disappointing.
If he finishes the season averaging 28 and 9, yeah, that's disappointing.
With 5 turnovers
and
43% shooting.
If he finishes the season averaging 28 and 9, that's a success for me.
A success in those numbers, yes, but when he's turning the ball over late in the game to Seth Curry, then what? Then what?
Okay, if the Heat game is the last game of the season and he gets bagged by Dion Waiters to end the season, sure, I'll give it to you. But there's no way that I'm saying this is a disappointment.
I really hope Dion Waiters pulls some crazy.
He's not. Dion Waiters is trash. But that'll do it for this episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you go subscribe to us on iTunes. At Hoopball Nets. You can look up Brooklyn Nets. You can look up Hoopball Nets. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating and review. All reviews are getting read on the podcast, so make sure you go leave one. You can follow us on Twitter at Hoopball Nets. You can follow us individually. I'm at Najee Adams _ on Twitter. If you don't know how to spell Najee, it's Najee Adams _ Hunter's at Hunter _ JKR. And that'll do it for this episode, guys. Shout out to Hawaiian House Kona Coffee, before I forget, for sponsoring this podcast and every other Hoopball podcast. And we hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll see you all next time.